I'm making this video because less than an hour ago I got the phone call. My brother was dead. This isn't the first person I lost. But one of the hardest. And I'm making this video because I watched my brother suffer for a long time. Depression and pain. With the acts of hatred and violence against him. And he was a wonderful, wise man. A man who tried everything and did everything. He succeeded at everything. But he was also a man who let his vices take control. He was also a man that didn't recognize just how serious some things are. And every time I bury a friend or a family member, I ask myself if they knew. Every time I hear somebody talk, I'm reminded of that same conversation with God that I have. Every time I see somebody suffering, I'm reminded over and over again. When I hear people preaching and talking and telling the stories about the things they think they understand, but you can see, you can hear that they don't know. It angers me. It frustrates me. It breaks my heart just like this. Because those little things do matter. Those vices do matter. It's not so simple. It's not so small. And every time I look around, I feel like I'm watching so many people die. And I cry out to my friends. I cry out to the acquaintances that I have. I beg and I plead, and yes, sometimes I argue with you. It's just like this at 12 o'clock at night. I can get that call that you're gone. And I gotta look myself in the mirror every day and say, did I talk to you? Did I try to help you? Did you know? It's not just rumors. It's not just ideas. It's not just theories. There is a right way. There is a life. There is a God. And if you don't admit it, you're on the wrong side. And if you don't respect it, it can be taken just like this. And you can leave people just like this. You don't want me to tell you the truth. You want to hide, you want to run. You want to pretend like it doesn't matter. Not me. I'm going to tell you when I see something you're missing. And you can call me crazy. You can walk around behind my back. You can call me names. You can say I'm schizophrenic. You can say I'm afraid. You can say whatever you want. But when I look in the mirror and ask myself that question, if I tried, I can say I did. And I'll never know if you heard me. I'll never know if you looked yourself in the mirror at those things that you do and you really judge yourself. But I know many of you walk around with your head high and your ideas. And you know you're unfaithful. You know that you're not pursuing what you know is right. Doesn't matter what it is in your life. You know what you're holding on to. You know the vices that you have. You know what you hide. You know what your true intentions are. And some of us can see them. And that doesn't mean that we don't have them too. It just means that we need each other. I have spent the last several years trying to save my friends and everybody I knew, and I can't save anyone because it's not for me to do. God did what he did. And even tonight with my brother, one of the few men I can learn from. I trust God. This isn't about the small problems you have in your life. This isn't about your relationship and doing it all right in your career and how wonderful and great it can be and how much money you make. This isn't about what you do on Friday and Saturday night. This isn't about having the perfect family. You weren't created for any of that. And you're not just killing time. Your suffering is because of your life. And if you can't see all of those things that you end up in are caused by your own hands, you're blind and you're lying. If you aren't willing to put down that drink, to stop picking up the drugs, to stop sitting around watching TV all day and night, speaking the way you speak, focusing on the petty holidays that you throw so much around about, what are you celebrating? What a celebration right now. And this isn't depression, this is reality. What is being celebrated right now? How many people can you look around and say is doing the right thing and will do it no matter what? How many people can you look around and say will tell you when you're slipping or when you're missing the point? How many people care about anything about you other than whether or not you are doing the same thing they're doing. Whether or not you're following them and you're in their fan club. How many people sitting at that bar really care that it's you and not just somebody joining their misery? How many of you are just following because it looks good, because it feels good, because it's what you were told? The truth isn't what we were told. Life isn't so empty. This isn't a rule book and trying to figure out and solve all these problems, because none of these problems even exist. We cause them. We give them life. We give them a place to dwell. And this is the result. This is the result. Maybe you won't die from what you do here. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't hurt somebody like this. Maybe you will. But you may never see it. I've got friends. I've had friends that are out killing people right now with what they do. And they think that it won't come back. They think that there aren't people like me right here, right now, sitting just like this because of them. There are schools, there are classes, there are churches all over the country, all over the world right now. They don't know the truth. They don't even know what they're talking about. People so focused on the illusion that they've been taught, they never even thought to see beyond it. They never spent a moment time really reading this book that's been here for so long, because to them it's just a book, just a topic, just somebody's ideas, thinking they're the only ones to feel like that, the only ones taught that. And I spend every day trying to put this book into somebody's hands. And the only hands that take it are the ones that God has prepared already to receive it. This isn't about walking around and saying Jesus. This isn't about getting involved with the church and hanging out on during the week. That's not the church. It's not your holidays. It's not your Christmas trees. It's not your parties and your celebrations. That's not the church. The church is the life we were given. The church is being obedient to the will of God, righteousness and honesty and love. Not feeding the homeless, not throwing parties, Not decorating your buildings and meeting once a week. It's not taking a class to teach people how to push others away. It's not teaching people how to survive drug use. It's not teaching people how to be successful and decorate their homes and make millions of dollars. Because all that money didn't save my brother. Or any one of the 48 people I've lost already. And the hundreds more that I've seen. We were called to a different life. And if we don't look for a different life beyond what we know here, beyond what they teach us in our cities and our schools and our local churches, the gospel isn't about living this way of life that everybody else lives. The story told in those pages, that's not what it says. And for every man that's out there telling another what they think they know, and I don't care if it was for a week or for 40 years, don't you dare preach the word of God. If you don't really know what it is. We are not following each other. Following each other leads to this place. It leads to robots. It leads to fools looking at their car and looking at their house and looking at their friends and looking at their bar and looking at their whiskey and looking at their drugs and their sex and their TV and their football and their holidays and their clothes and everything else. It leads to sitting at home in sorrow and putting on a smile when you go to work. And talking about how much you hate your job that you spend 80% of your life living for. And come home killing your family for. And all those friendships that you think you got because they're fun. And people make you feel good doing what you do, and because they do the same things you do. Sometimes that fun is just a distraction. My brother had it all. Everybody loved him. Everything he touched, he succeeded at. I don't see the world the same as many people. I can't anymore. What God has done here is not what we said it is. It's what He said it is. And you can either live in the blessings of that, and the true peace, even in situations like this, knowing that God is doing, knowing knowing that this is a plan. It's not just an idea. It's not just a word. Everybody's afraid to say that God has this planned out. They believe everything else they hear, except for that part. Because we don't want to believe that the things we do are wrong. We don't want to believe that somebody can see who we are inside. We don't want to believe that we aren't in control. No matter how many signs we get that we're not. No matter how many blessings that we're given that we could not even fathom trying to replicate. No matter how many times we cry out to God and He answers. We don't really see His hand. No matter how many times He blesses us, we don't really believe that it's God who gave it to us and God who takes it away. I have watched some of the closest people to me die. And more continue to kill themselves. I watched some of the people I love the most live a life of emptiness and foolishness that they try to convince me is so much better when I live with nothing. I can still see. There's two sides of this coin. The peace and beauty and blessing that God has given in His creation, already promised, already delivered. Everything we ever wanted is already here. We're lacking nothing. We're seeking nothing. We're craving nothing. We don't need any more fruit. We can't make any more fruit. God already did it. But we keep trying to do better. We keep trying to cover up and hide in the shadows. And convince ourselves that what we love must be good because we love it, but we don't really love it. We just get on that wave and pretend when we're up that everything's okay. And when we're down, we just wait for it to pass or cover it up or drown it out. The second side of that coin is there's a reality. There is a true judgment. And if you don't get it, if you don't receive it, you are at the hands of your own demise. You are in the wrath of God. You will lose it all. Even if you've been turned over to it, to live it and love it, and to have have everything you want. The world's greatest empires were built on lies. And some of the world's smallest and most hated men still survive. There is a truth. And it isn't just acknowledging that there is a truth. It's knowing that there is, and then, keyword, and then, believing it so much that you actually try to figure out what the truth is. And those who seek it find it. Because no matter what you do, when you are doing the right thing, when you are looking for the right thing, when you are living honest, cold, blunt honesty, dividing yourself from what's there, removing what doesn't fit, admitting to yourself and to others what doesn't really matter, and what's healing you, you find truth. One by one, as you remove those things. One by one, as you remove those illusions that the world has painted, that your family, that your friends, that your society has painted, you find truth. Because God already put it there. And all of those things that we've created, and all of those things that we have chased, all come out of us not truly believing that it's already there. Every day I speak to people that I see faces just like mine today. No matter where I am in the city, or who I'm speaking to at home, I feel it and I see it. And no matter what you say, I see the truth. And I watch as so many listen and walk away. Whereas some change their lives. Whereas some see it and close their eyes. I see some who don't believe. I see some who reject it. I see some who hate it. And the reality of it is, there's no change in that. But those of us who can look in the mirror every day and admit where we're falling short that day and fix it that day. We can live in that promise. We can have assurance. No matter what comes, it's okay. Never again will they hunger. Never again will they thirst. The sun will not beat on them, nor any scorching heat. For the Lamb at the center of the throne will be their shepherd. He will lead them to springs of living water, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Because His way and His will has given us peace. And the only mourning that we have is for those of you that we watch time and again, hoping you hear. And we can't sit still and wrestle with you. Sometimes we're here longer than we want to be. Sometimes we come and go like the wind. But we can't stay next to you every day and spoon feed and fight and beg and plead and cry and convince. Because that's not peace. That's desperation, that's distraction, that's confusion, that's lies. That's where you live. Some of us go into those places to share that peace. But we don't stay there. The hardest part is watching and knowing that even the people we love the most are what stand between us and God. Or that even the people we love the most will never know peace, or could never know peace. And even if we don't want to believe it, it proves itself every single day, over and over and over again, that it's not us who does it. That not everyone hears. That when we look at each other, some of us just know Some of us just don't. That living water is the truth. And there's so many people talking nowadays, it's hard to tell who is really telling the truth, but the people who truly want to find it, find it. And you must believe that. You can't stop at what somebody tells you. You can't stop at the person ahead of you telling you that they have it and this is what it is. Even me. I'm not leading you to me. I don't want you to follow me because look at where I go. I want you to go to peace. I want you to find the way to see truth and stop believing all of the lies that we tell each other every day in everything we do. Because everything we do is a lie. What we eat, what we sell, where we work, what we say, why we say it. Even love has been reduced to manipulation for expectations. That's not love. I made this message tonight because I felt that it was imperative to continue to say that no matter what comes, we have to be bold. And that's one thing my brother taught me. I don't know where he stood with God, but I know that he tried to be righteous. And I know that he suffered for it. But he taught me in many ways that when you believe something, when you know something, you stand for it no matter what. So I'm making this video because I know there's a lot of people on my page. And I know there's a lot of people out there, and I hope that this gets shared to them, who are continuing to walk, to live, to see, to love the things they know they shouldn't. And for me, my sermons don't always come from the book. I don't read and tell you a story about a king or a little boy. I tell you what God told me through it all. And what he's telling me through it all is to go bold. To be obedient, to be righteous, to separate myself from that. To stop listening to the lies. To stop being carried by the waves and the wind. And being afraid of what? Stop worrying about what I got. Or who's with me. Because the reality is, every one of us can look around and say, nobody's really with us when it's time to do the right thing. Nobody really wants to step out there. They just got their ideas. So I'm making this video to those of you I have told, and those of you I haven't told, and those of you that I want to tell. In just the blink of an eye can all be gone. In just the blink of an eye, you can go from one side of the coin to the other, from the good to the bad, from the bad to the good, or to the end. And for me, praise and glory and wisdom and thanks and honor and power and strength be to our God forever. Because I see things that I can't do. I see things that no one can do, that only God could have done. Everywhere. How dare I say that my way is the right way? How dare I say that I don't serve someone else and not know what that is? I didn't just wake up on this earth with no purpose to live and just look for some new exciting way and thing to be and be whatever I want to be. That's not what you were brought for. The social violence, social injustice, psychological warfare, spiritual warfare. Doesn't matter what your vice is. It's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. The same truth today as there been since the first man and every generation since. It's time to turn away from all the lies. Everyone is out there right now searching to find the actual truth. Starting to question what's really happening in the world. Starting to look at all of these things that we were told and prove what's right or wrong, even our diets. People are starting to really look at the facts. So I challenge you to look at the facts of God. And it doesn't matter that it could be your last day. Time has no meaning at all. Where you are and what you're doing always is what matters. Every time you look in the mirror, if you see something wrong, turn away from it. Every time you hear or see someone do something, learn from it. And expose it. Not in judgment, not in control, but in light, in truth. We live in love. We live in light. Not to say we're better, but to recognize life for what it really is. It's separating ourselves from all of those lies. And when we begin to see those lies for what they really are, we do separate ourselves from them. Because they don't really That's why people are looking for truth. Because they followed those lies and they led nowhere. And they have followed lie after lie after lie after idea after experiment after expectation after all of the things that we assumed and were told were going to be, and they weren't. How much farther are we going to follow until that road runs out? I pray for you that you hear his voice inside of you. And if you do listen to it, because as heartbroken as I am, as sorrowful as I was, I get angry at those things. I hate those sins. Because they are what destroys us. They are what destroyed me. They are what destroyed my brother. And all of the other people that I've lost and that I've met. And we are never freed from it if we continue to live in it. We're only free when we're completely submissive. When we know that God's way is the only way, and we stop fighting. I love you guys, and I pray you stop fighting. And find peace. That he finds you.